Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to meet Tim, and we are here in the gorgeous Sierra Nevada mountains just outside of Lone Pine, California. Lone Pine's about 3 miles over there, and you can see the Sierras here behind me. Man, it's fantastic. It's just a beautiful place. But I ran into Tim and we got to talking, and he's got this great story I want you to hear about. And so we're just going to meet him, take a look at his van, lots of great creative ideas, and we'll learn what we can learn. So Tim, say hi to everyone.
Hello everyone, how are you doing?
So Tim, this is your Ford van here.
This is my 1991 Econoline E150. It's the factory extended long, and I purchased it in 2010. So I'm going on 8 years with this particular vehicle as my pretty much full-time home.
So you've been doing this a while, and that wasn't when you began. You started before then.
I began in 2005, actually, in San Diego with a motorhome and my car, and I've been self-employed. I was a personal trainer, massage therapist, photographer, and so I already had kind of a mobile work situation, and I moved out of my expensive apartment and into a motorhome and never looked back.
So what would you say was your primary motivation? Was to be freer to move, to save money, both?
Both, very much economically, even though in San Diego it was technically not allowed, so it was difficult, but a lot of people were doing it. I think the mobility is just a part of my life. I've been an outdoors person all my life, so having the wheels under my home came really natural to me.
And so you started in 2005, and how long did you live in the RV?
The motorhome, it was a 24-footer. That was about 2.5 years.
And did you live in the streets of San Diego then?
Some in the streets of San Diego, going back and forth from the parking areas, and I had my car. We called it the nighttime, daytime shuffle. You have to move your vehicles around, but I never had a criminal record, so there were encounters with the police, and it was never really an issue personally, but part of that cat and mouse game some people are familiar with.
And it's changed, would you say? So it was possible back then. Is it still possible now, do you think?
It could be. It's really difficult. I think there's more people doing it. I travel a lot, and I've seen a lot of the law enforcement actually very tolerant, depending on what your rig looks like. Sometimes they'll just want to come and say hi and determine you're not a problem, and that's fine. I don't do the urban thing really anymore, so I know that's a challenge for some folks.
So 2.5 years in San Diego in the RV, and then did you switch to a van then, or?
I did. I drove it. I drove that motorhome to Baja for surfing trips. I drove it all the way up the coast to Washington State, the Olympic Peninsula, and that was barely getting 5 miles per gallon, so it was tough. And so I sold it, and I wanted to downsize, so I got a short box Chevy van with 3 on the tree. It was classic, and I had that for a couple of years, and actually went without a vehicle at all for a year, and moved into this van, in 2010. Part of the thing that I want to say what this lifestyle has done with all 3 of these vehicles, I've at times parked the vehicle legally in a storage unit for, I went to South America for several months. I stored it. I did an Alaska trip. I stored my vehicle, and that allows for a different type of traveling, which I do. With a backpack generally.
So if you want to travel internationally, living in a van is real simple. You just put it in a storage lot.
Absolutely, and it's been very safe, never had a problem. I've left it even at friends' house for a shorter term. It's very convenient.
Whereas if you have a home, you have to worry about the water pipes and the vandals and all kinds of things.
Exactly. Yeah, for the person who likes to travel, it's hard to beat.
Yeah. Literally, if travel's your thing, living in a van's the way to do it.
And even what I've seen a lot, and what I started doing in 2005, 6, 7, is I was self-employed. Like I said, legal, had a job, bank account, and having that mobility helped me with my own personal business. Just having that flexibility.
Well, let's talk about that. How have you supported yourself since 2005, basically living in a vehicle?
Yeah. Well, again, when I started out, I already had an established clientele of massage therapy clients, personal training clients, and some photography clients in San Diego. And so when I moved into my motorhome, I would just show up to my jobs in my car, so it didn't matter to anybody what my living situation was like, but it actually helped me to do all three of those jobs because of the lower overhead that I had, and I was able to be really flexible. So I see a lot of folks doing that now in the urban areas. The problem is sometimes where to park.
Right.
Without being hassled. And there is something that some of your viewers probably know about. Santa Barbara, I believe, was one of the first municipalities to issue safe parking. They call it a safe parking program. And as long as your vehicle is legal and insured and you're up, above board, that they issue up to 30-day parking in a designated parking area. So I'm liking to see that more municipalities and law enforcement agencies are being tolerant. They're trying to.
Cooperating with instead of fighting against.
Exactly, yeah. Prohibiting something which is already happening is hard, because then those people that are doing it have to figure out what to do. And campgrounds, which are often suggested, are very expensive. It can be $30 to $50 a night, so that's not really an option if you're...
So for a very long time now, you haven't been in the city. You are boondocking?
I do. I love that term. I first heard that from some Canadians way down in the Baja, in the boondocking. I, all my life, have loved wherever that is, the boondocks, the blank spot on the map, the end of the road. And this location, because as you mentioned, we're close to Lone Pine, I have a storage unit. I keep a P.O. box. I have friends there, so it's been kind of a base. It's a good midway point for Southern California and other parts. But I have pretty much since I started with this van in 2010, worked seasonal for the National Park Service, 6 to 6+ month working, making a good salary, then you get laid off, and then I went back 4 years in a row to Yosemite.
So you live so cheaply that you can work 6 months, take 6 months off.
Absolutely, it's easy to save the money. In that particular case, the Park Service, there was housing for me, which I did pay for, but it was much less than what a regular place would be. So I was able to keep my van, actually do some upgrades to my van while I'm working for 6 months. And then you're free to go. And then those trips, I've gone to deep into Mexico and deep into Alaska, and having that mobility and a low budget lifestyle is pretty nice.
Yeah, folks, one thing I've never said is you don't have to work doing this. Unless you're retired and have income, you have to work. But if you can work 6 months out of the year and take 6 months out of the year off, how much better off would your life be? You would gain so much freedom. And so I think that's a huge point in this life. And you've taken full advantage traveling everywhere.
Well, and also the seasonal work is something that's very common. There's a lot of winter seasonal jobs, summer seasonal jobs, but if you own a fixed house, you can't really do that so easily. So a lot of those folks want the full-time job, and the seasonal jobs are more for college kids maybe or something. But this way, I've been skilled as a carpenter. I have all kinds of skills I can rely on. I do gardening. So sometimes it's as simple as getting a cash job for a day or a week or something like that, and you can move on, or you can just go to the hills. So flexibility with your own skill base, pretty much whatever you know in the city, you can take out and about. Just gotta be creative.
Right.
I also maintain a website, so I've been a photographer since I started it in 2005 also, and you know, that whole internet-based, people do data crunching or a variety of things, but being able to have some sort of a portal through the internet, even if it's just artistically, allows for you to do what you're doing. Even if you don't get paid for it, it's sort of it becomes part of your lifestyle. And that's the day and age we live in, where we can get internet and still live out in the boondocks.
It is. Yeah, modern technology has made our lives so much better. So much better. So you do have a website. People can contact you.
I do. My website is www.timages.biz. That's TIMAGES.biz. I've always called photographs images, and I go by T a lot, or I sign my work with a T, so T Images and Timages has been around for a while. And I'm on Facebook and all that stuff, Instagram, you can see it on there. It thrills me to see how many people are interested in the van life, and I've recently started doing hashtags and whatnot on some of my pictures, not for the income, but to know that more people are able to see what it is I'm wanting to share. And for the most part, it's all about just sharing.
Right. Well, Tim, thank you so much for talking to us and sharing your life. So will it be okay if we go in and take a look at your van?
Absolutely. There's a couple of tricky, neat little things in there you might be interested in.
Yeah, I know there are. I've been there before, so I know for a fact there are lots of things in there you're going to be interested in. So, folks, I'm going to quit right there, and we're going to go take a look at his tour, probably in a separate video. So until then, I hope you got something out of this. If you did, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you later.